want you to hold that thought because you clutch. You just digress into our next topic like perfectly. So since the last time we met up, well, not since me and him met up, but our last like traditional episode, we had a few things happen in our community that we seen. Wayne sold some of his masters, and apparently Drake and Nicki's from a certain period of time. All the details aren't known yet. Jay-Z sold a big share of a title, and then Swiss Beats and Timbaland sold the versus thing that they brought up to what they have during this pandemic. And it's at the fact that they all did that at a time, probably more so since Nip passed away, where you hear about that independence talk so much within our community. So it leads me to the question of like all of you individually. I want you to answer if you guys are for socialism or capitalism.
Yeah,
you can go first.
I'll be going back and forth on that subject.
Yeah, same.
I don't view like one system superior to the other one.
Okay.
Just because I feel like capitalism, if done correctly, is a good system.
Yeah, I like that.
I feel like socialism, if done correctly, I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure because I feel like capitalism is just kind of like a situation of everybody figure out how they gonna make some money or make it work, and then we'll just allow,
which is basically what we live in.
Yeah, we got capitalism, more or less a capitalistic system, and more or less allow the market and everybody deciding what is worth what, figure it out on their own.
Okay.
And you kind of, you start a business, you build it up yourself, you invest it, and you can hire employees and yada, yada, yada. Socialism, I feel like, is more of a forced altruism, as they say, where it's like I'm forcing you to give this person some of what you made.
Right.
Because if you don't, I'm gonna send you to jail or kill you, right?
It's kind of like a participation trophy sort of system.
Yeah. It tries to make sure that everybody, everybody has something. Yeah, everybody has something, right? which sounds good in theory, but in practice, I don't know if we as a species of humans are, like, have evolved to that state where we can still be motivated to achieve the highest height, knowing that it's going to be taken away and given to somebody else, like a significant portion of it. But I will say, we kind of implement both in this country. Obviously, like overall capitalism, but taxes and giving like Social Security, school and stuff like that is a form of socialism.
Ain't like 97% of the world's wealth, like, you know what I'm saying, like. Well, I think the billionaires are like 90% of the world's wealth. It was some shit like that.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We call it capitalism, but it's really corrupted capitalism. So that's where a lot of like the issue. Yeah, that's where the issues stem in, because corrupted capitalism it's not even a fair game at that point.
Right.
So I can't really say, man. My whole thing is I'm socialism for me and my peoples. Like if everybody in my circle is good, and I'm willing to allocate and move it around just to make sure everybody's good. But for everybody outside the circle, it's capitalism. That's kind of how I operate.
Where you stand, Yana?
I like some of the points D was making for sure. Like I feel like there's pros and cons to both of them, and there's pros and cons to everything. And I've seen socialism in other countries, Jamaica for example, and I see how those Cuba, like I can see how certain things can work. I can also see why people are against it, but let's be real, most people are against what they don't even know about. Because that's the thing, they're scared of the word socialist. They don't know what it is. It's not bad. It's not all bad. Like it's just trying to, like you said, like have somebody have a little bit of something. Everybody got a little bit of something. But when it comes down to it, we definitely live in a capitalistic society. I mean, that's what businesses are. That's what supply and demand is. I can't say I hate it. I'm a business owner. Right. I understand that. Right. No, it comes with the territory, and that's
all three of y'all to some.
It's about doing, like you said, it's corrupted capitalism in America right now. But ultimately, I don't think we could ever get to a state of socialism in America because it's so ingrained. We're so ingrained to feel entitled to have certain amounts of things over others and be selfish. We are very much so. we're an individualistic society as opposed to collective, and we're all about ourselves. Pros and cons to everything, because with that we see how the homeless population is out of control.
Yeah, especially in LA.
We see Skid Row. We see all sorts of shit, and it's like we see food not being wasted, food waste being a mass problem. Yeah. People going hungry for what? Right. Technically, socialism will help solve that problem. In theory, if done in certain ways. I don't know. Like I said, I can see the benefits and the dangers of both of them in certain situations and contexts. It's all circumstantial, personally. Like,
all right, where you at too?
I like it, man. I'm capitalism with it, man. Fend for yourself.
Got business, huh?
Fend for yourself. Get out there and get it, man. If you can't, then shit, it wasn't meant for us. It ain't meant for us.
I mean, I understand the mentality though. You kind of have to be like that, especially living in LA. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's dog eat dog out here.
Yeah, it's got dog. And since it's like that, you know, it might can transfer over to social, like you said, because we kind of like living in both. You know what I'm saying? So it might one way go one way. You know, different generations. Right. So I feel like you gotta adjust. You know what I'm saying, to what's cracking. But you know, right now we like mainly capitalism, and it's like you gotta go out there and get it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be the person to educate yourself on how to get it. You know what I'm saying? Don't depend on the school system to do it for you. Be your own teacher.
However, don't be foolish enough to think that there are no benefits in having the school system and learning things through them. Because that's something not for you, but just people, Black community or otherwise, people who are just like, you know, I don't need higher education. I can learn everything I want to learn through myself or books or Google or YouTube or whatever. And I get that. However, this is coming from somebody who has a degree. So let's not forget, like, there's benefits to having exposure to things you would never come across.
And you taught yourself that, though. That's what I'm saying. You got to be your own teacher. If teaching yourself is, no, I need to go sit down in front of this teacher to get these extra skills done.
Knowing how you learn.
Knowing
how you learn. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So you got to really, you know, some things do require, like, I got to sit down and do this class, man, because I got to get I know what I'm doing, but I got to get these extras. So that's all, like, but still, that's being to me, that's still being taking the initiative for yourself.
I can see that.
And still getting it, you know?
Absolutely.
Bro, I've always said that too, and I'm somebody, I got 2 degrees, and I'll still tell somebody quick. I'll tell, my bad, I wouldn't have flexed. But,
right. Yeah, I wasn't.
I'll tell somebody in a quick second, how college, I guess per se, and school in general, I feel like up to high school is 1,000% needed. You have to learn the basic functions of life. There's certain things that probably can be implemented, which is pretty much with anything. But after that, I feel like what 2G said, like it's your choice from that point, especially in 2021. Where you have 1,000,001 ways you can educate yourself. You don't it's so many things that you can just literally go on YouTube right now, and you know what I'm saying, and you got people paying $40,000-$50,000 to go to schools to teach that same thing that you can sit on YouTube for like a day and learn the same thing. So it's like you said, like if your journey requires you going to sit in front of a professor or some type of teacher or something like that. But not even that.
I think my main point that I was just trying to say that whether it's being taught by a teacher or not, you never know the different ways you can receive and find out about different things.
Right.
Being an artist, I wouldn't have known about half the shit, artists, art, design, all sorts of stuff, because I wouldn't have been exposed to it. I'm not saying you can't teach yourself things, but you won't always be able to expose yourself to everything either. Certain things you need a little help or guidance or people to lobby that layup, like, look, you know, help, assist, like, you know, just some type of assistance. Not saying that you have to spend 4 years.
And the connection.
Right, you don't have to. Definitely think freely. Definitely is extracurricular, even on your point on high school and stuff. That's definitely needed. However, like you said, things not only need to be implemented, but we need to focus on the right things. Like, there's literally no people, mind you, taking civics and different things. These are high school. These are civil duties as Americans that we are forced to do. We don't really have that option in theory. So the fact that we're not being taught about taxes, we're not being taught about homeowning, we're not being taught about credit. I mean, fuck. Taxes, come on now. Everything's taxed. Like, if we're, especially being in California, for example, Like in Oregon, maybe you wouldn't have to in different curriculums or different areas for different things. I get that. However, there is a lot that needs to be implemented, like that needs to change because it's cool and all, but by the time you get out of high school, you really don't know much of anything, and all of that knowledge. Not all of it. A lot of the knowledge is not going to be useful later. Mm-hmm. For me, I'm weird enough to be like, oh shit, I remember all this like primary school, middle school, but it's like science facts and shit, like quirky stuff that doesn't, but it does apply sometimes. I know a lot of things. Right. I've held on to a lot of this information.
I think the discipline behind you finishing and doing it is important, and I feel the connections and things you might pick up along the way, maybe not even necessarily from a teacher or professor, but it could be
somebody you meet along the way.
Just somebody that you sit next to. I got a dude to this day I'm cool with that's Cambodian that done taught me so much stuff. Like his family brought him out here to start a business on like a laundromat in South Central or something like that. And there's a lot of ins and outs he told me just from us sitting in class. Like, you know what I'm saying? We in the back of our business calculus class just chopping it up. So you never know who, you know what I'm saying? You could be sitting in class with royalty. You know what I'm saying?
I guess another way I'm also trying to get that out is that you never, people, which is sort of diverting, but ultimately people don't value or factor in the fact that you never know who you're gonna meet and put in different situations along the way. You never know what connections you can make that can help change your life. You never know that. So people who settle relationships, businesses, dreams, whatever it may be, why? Just go maybe a little extra farther. Just because you haven't experienced something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Doesn't mean you'll never be able to experience it. It just means maybe you haven't crossed that path with that person who you connect with for that, whatever it is.
You know, really.
Or whatever it may be. Because, I mean, I'm talking more broader, but yeah, in general. Like, you just don't be so closed off to other areas and opportunities to just be exposed to different types of people, period. Like, that's very important. Like...